Hey, good morning. Happy Monday. Monday, February 5th. All right, where should we start today? Let's start with oil because oil's already, we're a little late. Probably should have been up a little bit earlier this morning. Let's see what we got going on. First of all, let's check the news lineup today. I don't think there's anything. This is strange. Has listed repeat. Powell stresses patience in TV interview. Oh, that's just report. So Powell's defending their decision to not um, potentially lower interest rates too early. Let's see, there's an ISM services index. Low impact at 10 a.m. That's it. Looks like pretty much all week there's nothing. A bunch of Fed speakers all week long, which always makes for sometimes a choppier week. All right, let's look at oil. We've got, where are we at? We're midpoint of the London range here. All right, so we're reaching towards that London high, which we like. Actually, this right here might have been a decent entry. 24 ticks to London high. Where are we at with? So we came down below, we came up, we tested the red line. We broke below it a little bit. We're pushing higher. Kind of at this low. I don't know if there's any. I don't really look at market drivers overall. I just kind of look at what price action is doing right now. So no bias necessarily, but our red line and our gold line is telling us our bias should be long. Oh, there's the overnight open. So the overnight open is just above the London high. So more reason for us to stretch higher. So it's likely we reach up here. It's the opening 15 minutes though. We'll kind of wait and see what happens. I really prefer to see a false breakout of the opening 15-minute range. So we'll give it a few minutes to set that up for us before we do anything. So while that's thinking, we'll jump over to NQ. See where we're at there. We'll start by clearing off all our drawings. Move them all. All right, start of the daily. Yeah, so look at this. So the other day when we dropped, when we had this big drop down, boom, then we had a big bump up. So I don't know. Who knows where this is going to go. It's a little bit wild on the daily chart, honestly. We came down into this fair value gap, pushing higher. So we'll see. We're going to take this. I really don't have a higher time frame bias, honestly. I mean, other than the market's very bullish overall. Is it going to continue that way? We'll watch and see. All right, 4 hour. So we respected this fair value gap on the 4 hour. Pushed up higher. Actually, like rocketed out of it. And then create another nice gap on Friday. Came down, tested it, pushed up higher. So the velocity is getting slower as we're pushing up here. We did take this high here. Friday. Yeah, I kind of felt bad. I kind of wished I'd have come back and traded Friday afternoon. But I was green for the day, so I just kept it. But we did have this nice move up on Friday. We swept liquidity, but now we're sort of, we tapped it again, coming back down. So I don't know. Still seems overall bullish. So let's go down one more. 60-minute, no gaps. No gaps on the 60-minute other than this little guy here. Which we did violate, push back down. So this almost feels, you know, short-term bearish on the 1 hour. But we pushed. I mean, here's this gap on the 1 hour. I mean, Friday was just a really strong day, so I'm kind of curious to see if, well, really, actually, the end of the day, Thursday, right? Setting up for FOMC, setting up for non-farm payroll, which pushed way down and then gave it the reason, I guess, to rally even higher. Took out the highs from earlier in the week, but we didn't quite reach up to the high on what, the 24th. So I'm going to put a line here. Because if we break this, then this would be our next sort of level higher. All right. What else? All right, let's go down to 15-minute. Where the rubber meets the road here. All right, so we have, let's see, okay, so at 7:30 actually, we created a fair value gap down. So bearish fair value gap. So short term, we're kind of looking at this guy. All right, so buy side, sell side. You know, we actually have this a little bit lower. What's the difference here? 10 points or so. But we have these equal lows, right? We have a low here, we have a low here. We didn't quite get to it here. So my initial instinct is that this is where we're probably headed short term. Is these equal lows here. If we come down, that's seems to me to be a good level to watch. Someplace we may want to go to, so we'll keep that in mind. All right, in terms of London range, we're right in the kind of middle of it. We're on the overnight open right now. What was London? 50-point range. So that's pretty good. That's a decent range, but it's not overwhelming. I mean, the only kind of interesting thing is here over in the sort of the Asian session last night, we had a big range. So the Asia session was bigger than the London session. So we're kind of consolidating. It's almost like we're consolidating down a little bit overall. Um, Even though you can see on the 15-minute, we got this big range, but we're sort of higher high, low, higher low. Got kind of a higher low here, higher high, higher low. So we'll see. Are we going to come down and retest London lows before we go higher? We're going to come up, retest London highs, then go lower. Don't know. We're going to wait and see. All right, we got a trade setting up on oil. Let's jump over there, see what we got going on. Okay. So we came down here, we tested the red line, which was, it's been kind of meandering, right? So this was where the cross happened to test. We came back down, tested, failed it, tested, pushed up. We didn't quite get to the London high, which I think is actually a good sign. And we still have room to the overnight open. So what's my range in this candle that touched? 12 ticks. That's reasonable. That's not unusually sized. Got these equal highs. Inside candle. We're gonna try this. If it comes up. I don't know. We'll see. It seems like a strong push down, so it could be done over here and wants to try the low side. We'll see. But if it does, if this is just kind of a turnaround spot before it comes back up, I want to make sure I'm part of that. So we'll hang out and see what happens. Oh, goodness. So move the order down to the break of. We create another candle here, still on our gold line, so we move the order down to the break of that candle. Make it kind of big and obvious here so we can see what's going on. One thing I'm kind of cautious about is we're below the midline of our open range, so that's the only thing that makes me a little nervous going long. But we're also not going lower yet. It may happen. Oh, there it goes. All right, so we don't want to go up. We want to go down. It's perfectly fine. This candle's still on the line, so we're still going to hold this entry. If this candle closes below, which it does, we're going to get out. It's going to say, sorry, see you later. All right, so we cancel our order because this candle closed below the gold line. That's the rule. Looks like it looks like we may miss it because of that, but that's okay. We'll see how it plays out. We're still looking for the ideal entry for me, which is a break of the opening range. False breakout, pull back, and then I would take a break of a candle moving higher. If we go back up, we are staying in the top half of the opening range, which is good for the longs. All right, I'm gonna make my wicks bigger so I can see the wick of the candle that's at of this last candle that's sharing a border with the open range box. I have to make the wick bigger, otherwise I can't see it. But once we're done with that candle, I don't really care anymore. So I like that we pushed up and now we're coming back to test. But unit new. At this point, we're gonna wait for the opening range test to see what that tells us. We have no inside bars on the 5-minute yet. Still waiting for that. So it looks like it's good that we canceled our order. Let me get rid of this other red line. I don't like it. This 21 SMA is one I just use. It's a reset of the 9 EMA. That's what it's used for, is to determine when that reset happens. But I don't really trade off of that as much, so I'm going to take the line off just so it's not distracting. Okay, so that's good. So we came down, we tested the gold line. We had an order ready to get in long at the break of the tops of these candles. As soon as this candle formed below the gold line, we canceled our order because forming a full candle, body and wicks below the gold line invalidates the trade. It looked at first like maybe we would have missed out, but it just pushed up for one candle, obviously, and it's pulling back. So good. The rules helped us out, it looks like, even though we're not done yet. So we'll see. Let's see. Is the red line in play? I'm not sure. Not sure. Now here's what I do like. So we did close below, we came up. We didn't really create any space, but we did push up, and now we came back and we tested. Lower and pushed up again. So I'm almost wondering if this is worth a try. So worth $100 to try this out. Choppy oil. What do you want to do? 31. First test. I guess we're trying it out. So I like second tests a lot. Again, I think this is not ideal. I'm not super confident in this guy, but we're gonna give it we'll give her a chance. So we're risking 9 ticks, so that'd be $90, I think. And then, well, it would be $90. And we're gonna look for at least the opening range is 26. Well, I think there's a good chance we reach for the overnight open. But I don't like how it's really stalling here. So it's gonna require patience, and it's a little riskier. So we're gonna take it to, let's set 30. Well, that was 30 from where it was at, so I don't know if that's actually. So let's get 1 and 2 down. We don't want to be greedy, so let's set it at 30 ticks. See if we get it. Doesn't seem, it's not very convicted right now. Kind of dawdling around. We do have an inside bar forming on the 5 minute, so this is all right. We may have chosen poorly here. What do you think? I think it doesn't know. We got 1 more minute till this inside bar forms, which would give us a potential entry if you're following. If you're using those 5 minute inside bars as entries. Now we're definitely kind of wedging down here, so it's going to go somewhere. We'll draw some lines because we're bored. Should just walk away and forget it. All right, so 20 seconds till this inside bar forms. If we break the high of this inside bar, then this is the Trader Rob inside bar strategy. That's what he would do here. You'd be looking for a 1-to-1 using the base of this bar here, which is the trigger bar, maybe. So 72.53 would be the target with an entry of 37. That's not, it's not a big move. Not a big move. If we break low, where are we going to go? There it goes. Why isn't this thing moving? That was a big wick. I don't know. I don't know if it's trying to scare us out or if it's giving us a warning. What do you think? I mean, if it's trying to scare us out, we should probably just get out now or break even. But it's holding the midline of this range, so that gives me some confidence that we may be headed up. All right, so there would be an entry on the off of the 5-minute. So I'm gonna put. Now these lines, these are so like hard to see. I guess I can change the color of it maybe. So this would be the risk reward profile based on that strategy. Again, that'd be a 17 tick target, so pretty low target here. Well, it seems like maybe we want to push up. Definitely not. It's definitely not super ambitious to go anywhere. So we'll wait. Because as soon as I get out for my $30 right here, it's gonna rocket back up. Did I move my stop? Well, we have tested down here several times. So the likelihood that we come back down, well, should say in my mind that means if we come back down here, we're probably just going to push through it, right? We've tested. If it comes back down, it's only going to be rejected so many times before it finally breaks through. On Friday, I got into a gold trade and I let's see, my overnight open line on CL is at 72.41. I don't know. Where's mine? Mine is 72.75. And that's just based on the indicator. And I'm using the March contract. I don't know if the contracts are maybe different. Pushing up towards that inside bar target. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I got into an oil trade, a red line, nice red line trade, entered pre-market, and I moved my stop to break even, so I got, I didn't lose anything, but the trade went. I mean, it was slower, but it went to the target. Took it, I think, 45 minutes, but it was like a 50 tick target. So I don't want to make that same mistake today. So we're willing to be a little patient. We're opening. Let's see. Looks like the open is in any moment now. See, I don't like that. That's a reversal. All right, I'm moving to break even. Yeah, I'm getting out of that because although watch it just come back for a test at equity open and push back up. That could happen. Right now, though, this gold line is just being abused, so I don't see it giving me a ton of support. So another break even, stop out in oil. All right, let's jump over to NQ, where we tested the London high. Gonna kind of let this play out. It's Monday. Not really interested in getting chopped out of anything this morning. It's time to get some accounts passed this week, so patience is the name of the game today. Oh, over on oil, we shot down to our red line. Oop. So glad I chose the break even stop there. So we'll see. I'll toggle back to it if we break out of that open range, because that would be the next thing that I would be waiting for, even though it's playing around with the London midline right now and the red line. All right, NQ, we're pushing out of our 15-minute fair value gap, maybe wicking out of it. See, on the 5-minute, we came down to this. Made this fair value gap here on the 5-minute. We wicked through it twice. This wick came down and tapped the top of what would be a fair value gap right here and pushed up. So that's looking a little bit bullish to me. But we'll wait and see how this candle, 5-minute candle, actually forms before we commit. See, we came right up to these. So this candle here came one tick shy of breaking even with this high, this sort of internal high here. Now we're just consolidating like crazy. .25 range. Kind of excuse me. Apologize, I'm still battling this little bit of a cold. All right, good. We're pushing up. Let's see if we can take this liquidity, get an inversion, maybe coming back down. Maybe not. All right, let's jump back to oil because we did violate our open range. All right, so we had a break out of the opening range here. Let's see what happens. So this would have been a failure of this inside bar on the 5-minute. All right, I like how we're at the midline, the London midline. I would really like, if we pull up into our 1-minute gold line, this is a trade I like. If it might not, maybe it'll just break through, but I prefer to wait for the cross of my 5-minute lines, my 5-minute 21 SMA, 5-minute 9 EMA, but I've seen gold not really care about that as much this last week, so that wouldn't be a deal breaker, I guess is what I'm saying. All right, so that's good. We're coming back up to the 1-minute gold line. Again, this is not financial advice. Don't do what I'm doing. This is my my personal trade journal that I'm sharing. Walking through my, just so I can come back in 5 years and look back on my thought process after I finally know what I'm doing and say, boy, I really didn't know what I was doing, did I? All right, so this in my mind, I like this. Let's see what happens. We had a false breakout of the opening range low. We came back up into a level. We have the 1 minute gold line, and we have the kind of the midline of the London session, which isn't like a super strong level, I don't think, but oh. All right, so we got a bad entry, so that's not. It does not bode well for us. All right, so, but what we want to do. For this trade, we got the London lowish right here. Maybe we got faked out. Huh? Really wish I had been in right there. That would have been a much better spot. 18 ticks. That's kind of a lot. Don't really like it. But the other, but it could be waiting for these lines to cross, which the market doesn't wait for lines to cross, right? It doesn't care about lines. But lines, lines are a sort of a visual representation of what price is doing. So it may need to consolidate a little bit at this level before it pushes down. That's basically, I think, what the lines are telling us, right? When we're waiting for that cross, we're waiting for a little bit of consolidation. The risk is that it could want to pull back up a little bit before coming back down. So that's why we've got a super wide stop on this, which I don't like. But I think that's what we have to do if we want the trade to have a chance of working. So right now our risk reward, we're at basically 20 ticks of risk, 33 reward. So it's, better than a 1-to-1, I guess. That's assuming it works. But we've got to give it a chance. Usually these 1 minute gold line trades are more momentum trades. We want to see some real reaction there. So I don't know. We're kind of breaking down. The other level I like to look at is 100% of the opening range, which would actually be down here. That'd be 50. So we do that. Do we go for gold? That would be a break of this level here. Maybe. What do we think? What do we think? Well, I think this might be a good spot to move to break even. Oh, I want to load my. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I'm dying over here. All right. So here's the. I mean, there's not a huge range, I guess. That's. Well, 53 ticks. That's a good range. That's a good range for a while. All right, so. always tell myself when I want to get out is, 12, 13 ticks. Is that going to get your account passed? Probably not. There's no risk right now. I'm not going to lose anything on this trade. There's no reason for me not to wait for it to get where I think it might go. So we'll let her go. It's 20. Zero lines are about to cross now. So that's about the point. It may want to come back up for a retest. We haven't touched this 50% level. I think we're going to get, I would expect that we're going to see that before it turns around. Oh, let's see what's going on in NQ. All right, I'm going to trail this candle here. So we're going to lock in a few dollars just in case it just turns around on me. The service fee for making me sit and watch you for a minute. See, the thing is, if we'd have been in where we should have been in, which would have been the break of this candle here, right? We pushed down to 28 ticks. I like to see 30. It's kind of what I like to see on these. So we didn't quite get as far as I would have expected us to. Probably get. Come on down to that 50 level for me. There it goes. Told you. I told you to at least get there. So now do we get greedy and hope for the 100? Or do we just say, you know what? That was not bad. That was not bad. Yeah, we've been this patient. Why? We're going to go for it. We're going to go for it. We're going to move our stop. Let's see, that's going to get stopped out. So 02 to 82 would be 20, but it's coming up there now. All right, we're going to move it to 10 ticks. There we go. All right, so we're going to make $100 for our pain and suffering. Or we're going to make 520 bucks. We'll see. The other thing, so actually, you know what? All right, I'm jumping out. Here's why I'm doing that, and this, time will tell if this is the right answer or not. But hopefully that was 20, 21. Okay, it's going to come back down just because I did that. But here's why I jumped out of that. For future me's edification. In this candle formation here, okay, you have a down closed candle and then you have an inside candle. All right, so that tells me we could go either way, but there's still a possibility we'll come down further. Okay, because this candle never broke the low of this candle, right? So it's just short-term consolidation. This one, we have a down closed candle. The next candle comes one tick below and pushes up. So this right here is a reversal pattern. All right. So when I see this reversal pattern, then I get hesitant. So again, it's time will tell. I mean, it looks like it's still coming down. If we come down and hit this, we'll we'll say I told you so. Um, so that was my rationale for getting out of that trade where I did. And now it's going to come down to my target. So I can at least be comforted in the fact that I had rationale for my decision. Now, whether my rationale was, legitimate or not, that's what remains to be seen. So we'll see. All right. Still dropping. All right, I'm going to stretch this out. All right. All right, that was my oil trade. So what was that? $200 or something? Yay, $210. Okay. We'll take it and we'll move back over to NQ. All right, NQ, what have you been up to? All right, so NQ, we took the London high. All right, so we swept London highs again for the first, second, third, fourth time. Came back down to the overnight open. Now we're pushing back up. We did not have a sweep of a low here. So we're testing the overnight open, but we didn't have a sweep of a low. Really wasn't an entry off of this sweep of the highs. I wonder if we'd have, I wonder if the 30-second chart would have given us something. Not really. Nope, that was just messy. That was just messy. Oh, oil hit my 100%. 2 minutes after I got out of it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. Patience, patience, patience. Let's see. And it's still falling, by the way. Oh, goodness. Look at this. We hit it, and we're still falling. Now, probably 2 or 3 times a week, oil will hit the 300% level, right? So, I don't know. Is this one of those days? We'll see. Man, this was a good trade. So, this was a failed breakout. Okay, so we failed. It's a little hard to see because all these lines are all overlapping. I know it's very messy. We have our opening range. We had a failed breakout of the opening range. We had a pullback to a critical level, which was our EMA. Okay. And, had confluence with the mid-range of the London session, which just, helped a little. And then our target would have been the 100%. And I chickened out for reasons I explained just earlier. But it did hit. So there you go. All right, enough of oil. Okay, we did sweep. All right, we swept our lows, our internal lows here. But we're still coming down. Still coming down. Now the opening range here in NQ would have been here. So we broke out the bottom of our opening range. We're headed toward London lows with vigor. Would have been a 56 tick trade on oil if I'd have got in at the right spot and just held to that target. Oh, goodness. All right. Over here on the 15-minute, that 15-minute fair value gap held. We're pushing lower, so we're coming out of a 15-minute fair value gap. What do I look like on the 1 hour? Yeah, there's like no fair value gaps. We're just kind of, I don't know. This just looks heavy to me. This looks like it wants to come down. And that's kind of what this does. It consolidates, it shoots up, it shoots down, consolidates, shoots down, shoots up. Consolidate, shoots down, shoots up, consolidate. Just figuring out where prices need to be at these levels. So on the 1 hour and the 15-minute, this definitely feels bearish to me. But I don't have that confirmation on the 1 minute. If we look at this overnight open, we push below it. Now we're retesting lower. We got a fair value gap there that seems to be holding. Thing is, if we did enter off of this, .10 candle, that's okay. So if this holds, I guess my only question is, where do we come down to? We've got kind of these important levels here. I would prefer to see us sweep these levels, give us a nice inversion going back up. That would be easier. But we seem to be hanging out low here. Tested that 50%. See, this is if you're looking at this to go short, which I'm not saying is the best thing to do. But what I normally do is I try and take the break of candles. The problem is you have to sit through a lot of heat if it wants to retest a couple of times. So the alternate is to say, well, we already had a break of this candle. So if I had taken a break of this candle, I would be in this trade right now and down, right? Waiting for all this consolidation. So do I say, well, I missed entering here, which is where I would have got in. Maybe I should just enter like at the midpoint of the range and get a better entry. Which is kind of why I like inversions better than right, and this is kind of an inversion right now. If it were to close above this, it would be at least. Because we did sweep this internal low. Didn't close above yet. But I just do not like the look of this 15-minute chart. Like, this doesn't give me any kind of a warm fuzzy to go along. 5-minute. So the only thing on this 1 minute, we did close in the top, the top half of the fair value gap, which means it could want to push up a little bit more before it, potentially comes back down. I don't know, but it's not an inversion until it closes above it. And it's really not wanting to. All right, I'm going to take this. Okay. We'll see. This may just rip up on me. Give me kind of a tight stop. This is a gold line trade. Which, it stopped out right away. Just wait for these inversions on NQ. They treat me better, but I'm bearish over on the 15-minute. I'm bearish here. We're holding this fair value gap. For now. For now. Yeah, I think we're going to stop out on this. If we close above that, I'm just going to bell on it. What? Whoa. Okay, I'm getting out of that. Shouldn't have got out of that. Did we have news? Oh, we did have news. Oh, okay. Well, that was lucky. That was lucky. Yeah, when it starts whipping around like that, if I don't know why it's whipping around like that, or I don't have super confidence in my direction when it starts whipping around like that, I'm not going to wait around and find out. All right, so you made $100 on that. Oh, mercy. Yeah, I should have held. Huh, look at that. So it was a gold line trade. Let me throw this gold line up here so you can see what I meant. So that I can see what I meant, Boom, right here. So we closed above. We came first test, second test. We touched it. Break of the candle down. Wow, look at that go. Huh. Amazing. Amazing. Oh, goodness. That was wild. What is going on? All right, well, news. That was like low impact news, too, on my calendar at least. Apparently, NQ cared about it. All right, made an extra $100, so now we're up, what, 300? Crawling our way up. Crawling our way up. All right, it is market's being wild and weird. I think it's time for a potty break. So I will be back. All right, we're back. All right, well, we are definitely bearish at the moment, are we not? All right, so this is good. We got a nice run down. All right. See if we get a nice inversion set up. Doesn't really look that way at the moment, but we'll see. Go to the 30-second just for fun. I got nothing on the 30-second. All right, so this is our inversion. Looking at 10 or 28. Really like a little bit of a pullback here. Come on. There we go. So that's a strong pullback there. We're gonna invert the inversion. So the thing that's not ideal really about this inversion is it's not a singular gap, right? We've got a gap up here, and then a gap here before we swept this. But it kind of feels like we still want to come down, doesn't it? It's just not giving me an entry. I don't know. This week is Operation Get These Accounts Passed. Pass the top step challenge. No more playing around. Time to get serious. I don't know. We're really. This is looking really weak to me. Kind of our next target here. I don't know. This looks really weak to me. This is why I'm doing this live. If I was not doing this live, I would have entered something right here, and it may work out just fine. But it wouldn't be based on anything other than we seem to be holding this for a value gap. We're below this level, and the next level I see is way down here, so there's room. But I mean, even if it works, it could be choppy too. So that's really the risk. Is if you get into something that you're not super confident in and it's choppy, you're highly likely to lose. At least I am. Should say. I don't know what you're going to do or anybody else is going to do, but that's what I would do. I would end up getting chopped out. So move down on the 5-minute, little push up, move down, consolidating. What's everybody else doing? Oh wow, yes is really pushing lower. YM is falling off a cliff, and NQ is trickling. All right, so let's go back over to oil. So oil, after we hit our 100% line here, pulled back up into the gold line. It was kind of a meandering pullback, but if you'd have got in at the break of the candle, it would have been right here. It would have been a little messy for 2 minutes, and then it dropped down. Would have been 30 ticks to this low. So that would have worked out great. See, this is not a valid 1 minute gold line trade because it's not a smooth pullback, although it seems like maybe it would have worked. On the 5-minute inside bar strategy, I think Trader Rob only takes the first one. Looks like the second one would have worked. He would have got in high long here, and it might. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it got quite far enough, but it did go in the right direction there eventually. Now we've got the first inside bar of the second session. It's gonna be formed in the next minute. It looks like. Just kind of curious to see what happens there. All right, NQ just dropping. Just dropping. That's my 30-second. All right, so we dropped. We took it out. We took out this liquidity here. Or just if we took it out, but we tapped into it. I mean, the next level lower is here. If we fell lower, then that's kind of our next target. We sat on it here for a while before we fell. So see what happens. Let's get out 30-second. So let's see what the potentials here. If we inverse this to come back up, the problem is we've got a fair value gap in this area, so that doesn't give us much room. Well, 16 points. That's a little bit. So that body sat right at the 50% level. Be a waiting game. So technically, we inverse that fair value gap. But I don't know. It's not a singular fair value gap, so it's lower probability. Now we're pulling right back down. So and right back down again. It's a messy Monday morning. All right, I'll be back. Hmm. All right. Well, what are we doing here? I don't know. I mean, it feels heavy to me, but the danger is we keep wicking. I mean, 16, 20-point candles up and down and up and down. Just not a safe range for me to play in. Oh, goodness. Do, 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 do. Let's see. We were kind of bouncing off this level, aren't we? Bounced up, bouncing again. We didn't come down quite as low this time. All right, well, we're coming up on 10:50. Just been consolidating here, so don't know. We consolidating for a move lower. This is a strong hourly candle coming down so far, so I don't know. The macro takes the opportunity to run one direction or the other. I kind of wonder. Wonder if it's gonna pull up before it comes down, or if we just break through right here and fall to the next level. This is something I'm going to watch, though. Let's watch this level, see what happens. It's hard to get these lines straight. I think that's straight. Yeesh. Well, there's the breakdown. I mean, I didn't really see a good entry for this. Yeah, this singular fair value gap, but it technically got inverted here, and we just chopped around in it. I guess we did come back below and then started to respect it before it dropped, so that could have been a signal that it was meaningful, right? But I don't know how far is it going to go. Some days I feel like the market is pretty obvious in what it's trying to tell you, and other days not so much. And I feel like today is a day that, for me at least, it's not quite as apparent. Oh, there we go. What do you want to bet me it does? It comes down to that level. Oh, goodness. Look at it go. I mean, the other thing this could be is this could be our sweep right here. Setting up for the 950 macro, or 1050 macro, I guess. It's created 3 fair value gaps on the way down, though, so that's some momentum. Alrighty, well, while this is trying to drive me crazy, let's go back to over to oil. I did take a losing trade in oil a minute ago. I got in right here, and I took a break low of this 5-minute bar right here. Inside bar. We had pushed up, we pushed down pretty strong. This bar itself wicked up, wicked down. but as you can see, the next candle just wicked up. So I had a pretty tight stop, so only lost a little bit on it. 12, yeah, 12 ticks. So didn't work, but very small loss. And now we're just going sideways, so not a lot to see there. Um, so we did tap down below here. So we came down to a low, tapped a little bit lower. Oh gosh. Yeah, stop it. It's getting boring. Strong momentum down though. I mean, I don't know. Still feels bullish, or not bullish, I'm sorry. Bearish overall, right? I mean, until we sort of change direction, we keep pushing down, consolidating, pushing down, consolidating. And we've been doing that since open. So now on the way down, we're catching all the levels that we created on the way up. So pretty obvious price action coming down. No good inversion here because we've got multiple gaps going on. You know, unless, I don't know, maybe 30-second has something. No. Nope. I mean, technically on the 30-second, there was this little guy right here. So maybe this was a signal. Little baby gap. Baby gap. Pushed up here, you know. You know, but where's it going to go? I think the furthest I would anticipate it going is, you know, into this gap, which I guess if you'd got in right away, that's, you know, you could get 20 points out of that. So that's pretty good. But not super clear. They were pushing up into our 1 minute gold line. And that is a smooth pullback into that line. So this problem has been tested like 15 times, but we're still in this strong downtrend. So last time we were here, we didn't have a smooth pullback. Chopped around and did come lower. This time we create a low, we have a smooth pullback. I'm not sure if it's going to hold this time. Do I take this gold line to break if it breaks? If I do, the risk is from here to here, 13 points. It's barely 1-to-1. Although if this candle closes tighter, then it's going to give me less of a risk on it. So I think so we're going to keep tight risk on this one. We'll see what it gives us. I'm not expecting wild things out of this guy, but this will be 1920. Yeah. Stop, come back. Nope. All right, well, that was unfortunate. That takes me to break even on the day. All right, if this comes right back down, tells me I might stop way too tight. This is kind of what it did before. It just chopped around, right? Oh, goodness. All right, we're going to watch this gap. If we pull below, broke the top. So I'm kind of looking at what we did over here, right? Where we kind of broke above it, then we tested the low before we dropped. If we get the same kind of price action, I might take a look at it. Don't say I'm overly confident in it, but 5-minute, 15-minute. 601.25. Way up here. I guess I could just push this. Trying to find the low of this candle, 675. That would be the rebalance point. Yeah, which is that line. Oh, goodness. It's kind of interesting. Our gold line now is matching up with our with this level here. It could. If it comes down by the time we get back up to it, and it matches up with this blue line, which also happens to be the wick of this 15-minute, the bottom of the wick of this 15-minute candle, which would give us kind of an immediate rebalance here. If it does that and also gives us a rejection, then that could be a good sign. So we do have this fair value up on the 5-minute. Somewhere in there. Okay, pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Oil continues to consolidate sideways. Very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, we are inside the macro, so it's not a surprise that it's pulling back, right? Kind of expect price movement within that time frame. I mean, between 8:50 says Central Time, 8:50 Central, and 9:10, and move down, not the whole move, and then consolidated, pushed down a little bit, consolidated. Now we're, I don't know. This really isn't a strong move though. It's kind of feels like more of a mild pullback. Definitely not any. Definitely not an impulsive move, right? All the impulsive moves have been down. I don't see any. It's not like we hit a level and bounced off of it, right? We hit levels and then we pause, hit levels, then pause. She didn't quite get to this level. So I don't know if there's, if we missed something. The bottom of a fair value gap at 54.50, which is where we tapped. Look at that. Okay, well maybe that's what it was. So this tapped the bottom of this 15-minute fair value gap from Friday. And when we poked down before it on Friday, we ripped back off of it. So we tapped it. Now we're pulling back, but definitely not an impulsive move there. I would say. All right, now this is something kind of interesting on oil. So oil came back up to the red line. I mean, price has been going kind of sideways. So I don't know if it's been pausing before it finally continues lower, or are we waiting to inverse that line and head back up? I don't know. But given the time of day, there is the possibility that we're going to go back up, because we haven't been back to the overnight open since early morning. Well, actually, last night, right? It's pretty far away though, so it might be, well, 97. Borderline. It might be too far away to really care. So we're kind of curious to see what it does if we reject the red line here, or if we continue to consolidate, hold the red line, and then push up, 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 and away. All right, on NQ, I want to take a look at the 1 hour. All right, so we did have a big wick on this 1 hour candle. So what does that tell us? Not sure. But that was a strong push. I mean, that's a lot of. That's a strong push down. 112 points on that body. So my bias is still kind of bearish today. Until we hit a level and show some reaction, I just don't see any reason to go long. But the challenge is I'm not really seeing any strong entry to go short either. So kind of wait and see. So we're kind of holding this middle fair value gap here for the most part. Waiting. All right, time for a 5-minute break. I will be back. Oops, wrong button. There we go. All right, we're back. Okay, well, we inverse this fair value gap, all the fair value gaps on the 1 minute. So, you gonna run higher now? Maybe. So our internal levels are here. All right, oil. We'll switch over to oil in a second because it's setting up a nice long opportunity for us, potentially. We're monitoring that. It's late. I wish I could walk away, but kind of a mediocre morning. Although I can't really complain. I think I actually had some good trades this morning. Still need to learn to hold them. Know when to hold them. I fold them all the time, and I shouldn't do that. All right, what do we see over here? I don't really see anything. That's the problem. What am I missing? I guess if we look at a 3 minute, that's a huge fair value gap. So if we were to use a 3 minute, we could say this was a big sweep of liquidity. We pushed back up, violated this, or inversed this fair value gap. The liquidity higher gives us 28-ish points. The risk, though, is maybe midway of this, 16 points. Let's see, do we have... All right, so all right, we tapped in, pulled off. That's a good sign. That's 8. You know what? I'm gonna try this. We got in late. We're gonna be targeting up here. Although we think it could go higher. That's why. 4170. Oops. Or not. Yeah, I guess we'll just put it up here. Yeah, so 20 points, you know. That's spectacular. Yes, my problem is this top's got to be way down here because basically this fair value gap is what we're. If this fails, then that will be very bad for us. So we got to have below that. So that, but that's a big, what, 20-point stop. So we're like 1 to 1. Yeah, that's not great, but let's see what we get. Maybe we get lucky. Maybe. I don't know. What do we think? Are we hoping? Hoping. This is, yeah, I don't know. This doesn't look. I would say there is hope here. Might not be tremendously. Actually, no, let's do this. Let's refine our stop loss here. We're going to use this fair value gap as our stop loss. Right there. Yeah, I mean, this is very non-committal in terms of price action. Let's see if we can get a little bit out of it, though. That works. Draw some levels here. If we can get a close above here, that'd be awesome. I would move my stop up. Even though I'm not overly confident in this trade overall. But it does seem more or less bullish to me right now. So either bell out right now or break even. Or I just wait. Let's just wait. One thing I don't like is it popped up above that a little bit and then pulled back. So that's a internal level, not super significant, but you know, the price reaction kind of tells a story. Oil rocketed up. Which is good. So I think it's reaching towards the overnight open. If it comes back to my gold line, I'm going to swap over there because we're going to give that a shot. I don't know. This is really choppy, and I don't like really choppy at all. But we're still more or less sort of headed up. More or less sort of headed up. That's confidence inspiring, isn't it? Let's see. So like unnerving when it's beating around, the price is beating around right kind of at your entry, right? If it pushed one way, it if it pushed in your favor and then hesitates, then you're at least in profit. Looking real weak on the 5-minute. Come on. Come on. You can do it. So my gut tells me get out right now, but the problem is my gut's usually wrong. It says get out because it's going to go higher, and we know you love to feel bad when it goes higher. So, all right, so we hit it again. So this is good. I don't know. Close above that level, please. Close above there so I can move my stop to at least break even. There you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Push, push, push. I mean, if it hits my target, that's 20 points. What's that? $400. I mean, 20 points isn't too bad, right? Not too bad. Come on. Maybe. Maybe. All right, well, let's definitely move to break even. Don't want to lose on this. Certainly don't want to lose. All right, we basically tapped our red line, which is we're going to get resistance there. So there's resistance between where this has been already and my target. Do I want to sit around and wait for it, or should we just be happy with where we're at? Hmm. All right, so I jumped out for a little bit there because we took this internal high and then rejected. Like that is a strong rejection. This is actually an inversion potentially coming the other way. In fact, the rest of them, I'm going to give back what I just made. I might even try this one because this is going in my overall direction of bias. 5 points. Coming off the red line, coming off an inversion. I have no problem switching my bias, like especially in a market like this. It's just kind of chopping up, chopping down, chopping up, chopping down. Gonna keep it tighter stop though. All right. Probably not going to take this very far, though. I'm going to say here. We're going to say there. We got into this late, as always. But my overall bias is bearish, right? So I'm kind of more comfortable taking it coming down, although so we did sweep this a little bit, and then we pulled back hard. Where we at? Wouldn't be surprised if it came back up into here. See, we're holding this 5-minute fair value gap too. Which is a good sign. So we came back up and retested. So I might actually move my target lower. Gosh. I really don't know about this. Come on. Come on. Actually, you know what? This is way too choppy for me. I do not like sitting through just chop chop. Chop chop is no bueno. I really don't like it. I'm just going to bail out of this. Run away, run away. Give me something though. Come on. Just pull down a little bit more. Nice thing about NQ is it does move around a lot, so. Come on. Give me a couple bucks for my. Okay, whatever. I don't know what it wants. Don't know what it wants. See, we could come back up to the red line and try that out. I really don't want to take a loss on this trade. Looks like that's what's going to happen. Okay. All right. We got out of it for nothing. This, I don't know. I don't know where that's going to go, honestly. All right. But while we were, it's going to come down. While I was playing around with that, though, we had a nice red line entry off of oil. which we missed. But yeah, third net 40 ticks. See, I actually anticipate this one coming higher. I wouldn't be surprised to see this come back up to the overnight open before the end of the day. Might take it a while. It could happen though. Oh gosh. NQ. Breaking my heart. Okay. Just trying to see if there's. So see how we came back up to the red line, held to it, pushed off, came back, boom. That's pretty good price action right there. Now we're retesting off the gold line. NQ. All right, I'm going to see where this is at because I may. We may like this one, even though we're late. Came down, we retested. Too hesitant. All right, this is just gonna be a watch. This is gonna be a watch and learn. That was a red line opportunity. Boom. So that would have been. Let's see. So I took a gold line trade, sort of, kind of a questionable gold line trade here. Got stopped out for break even. Came up red line entry. That was a big winner. 1 minute trade failed again. Too noisy, wasn't super clean, so not a surprise. And then we had another red line trade, which is money. Those are the trades lately in oil. Those red line trades are really good. All right, back to NQ. All right, well, we don't feel too bad. All right, let's evaluate here. So we got an inversion coming down off of this very small sweep of internal liquidity, which gave us a very small, came down a little ways. Now we're pushing back up. Thing is, this is our red line, and I don't like to go against the red line, especially when the market's kind of moving slower. So still I'm still a little bit bearish right here. I mean, it looks like we had a nice top-side test of the gold line, except that we trade in the direction of the red line. So if we're below the red line, we want to go short. If we're above the red line, we want to go long. And we prefer to have the gold line match that sentiment. So gold line below the red line is short. Gold line above the red line is long. Looks like we're not going to get an entry short. If you're following on the 5 minute, you did get an inversion on the 5 minute. The problem is the inversion was way up here, so you would have had to have your stop like way down here. I mean, and it's kind of working so far. You know, your target would have been this internal liquidity here, so risk to reward was not good on that. 15-minute inverted as well. 1 minute, we just didn't have. I mean, the first gap inverted, if you would have sat through the chop on that, I mean, it did work out, but when it's got all these other fair value gaps, you know, all these other areas to deal with, you get that slow consolidation. Oh. All right, so using the lines as rationale here, we'd be waiting for these lines to cross with the gold line above the red line so that we could come back for a retest for a long entry. Otherwise, we're just kind of chopping sideways. So I'm going to give it here probably another 25 minutes and see if something presents itself. It's been kind of a up and down day. I mean, I'm still positive for the day a little bit. Basically break even, really, but well, the line's moving up fast, so that's good. Fortunately, this may be just kind of a choppy week. Seems like whenever we have these Fed speakers all come out at different times and say things, it just leaves the market kind of in limbo, and if they say something it likes or doesn't like, sometimes it'll react a little bit, but not. So it can be kind of erratic. All right, this is good, coming back down. So this push up did sweep this liquidity, and we did technically technically have an inversion right here. Very, very small inversion. So the question is, what is our bias? Are we bullish? Are we bearish? Was bullish, or I was bearish rather, until we broke up here. But now this is definitely a change in state of delivery. Oh, we closed below, so so I'm gonna say I'm pretty bullish right now, at least in the short term. So a failure below this fair value gap down would change us back to being bearish. Change me, I mean back to being bearish. Would really like to see some kind of a retest back though, and it's not too enthusiastic about doing that. Right, like we tapped our 1 minute line, which I don't like as much in the afternoon. And besides, we have wasn't much of a pullback here, but maybe that's all it's going to give us. Oh, the lines are touching. They're holding hands. So we're going to come back and tap them on the shoulder. Hold, please. All right, we're back. Let's see what this does here. Taking rejection off of our lines. We had a nice cross, came back. We poked higher, came back, tested. It's a little bit of the candle's a little bigger than I'd like, but we're also holding this fair value gap, which is comforting. Trying to move that down, but not fast enough. All right, let's see what this does. You love it when it gets you in exactly and then reverses back. That's always super comforting. All right, let's see. I don't think I need my stop all the way down here. I think we're gonna do under these candles here. All right, so this is a red line trade, so it could be choppy, could be slow. I think this is gonna be my last trade for the day. See if it works. All right, what is my risk here? What could I run into? I think this one actually looks pretty good. I'm feeling okay with this one. Yeah, we'd really like it to come up here. Like we already swept this liquidity, so if it stops here and turns around, I may just jump out of this because it shouldn't stop here. It should kind of keep pushing up. Ultimately, we want an inversion of here. This is where our resistance is going to be, I think. Right. I'm not confident enough in this to sit through a pullback. In fact, this price action right here is making me not like it much. But we're in it, so we might as well just let her go. Yeah, I don't like this. One tick up and a pullback, that is unnerving for me. The thing that makes me hesitate is how many times today have I been like, well, I'll just get out of it, and then it ends up going where I think it's going to go. All right, that only happened once, but that's the one time I remember, right? All right, we're still pushing up, so that's good. All right, I'm gonna move us to break even on the off chance it just changes its mind suddenly. All right, we're pushing up into there. All right, this is good. All right, whew. Good. All right, we're back up to here. I really kind of want a big trade today. Meaning more than, like $100. All right, so closing above this is kind of a big deal. If we do, if we close, we'll let it keep going. If this pulls back, I'm probably just going to take whatever it gives me. Because, come on, push up, push up, push up, push up, push up. All right. So another sort of impatient move, but made like $300 on it. So that was my biggest trade of the day. Oh, goodness. Should we see where it goes? See if it holds up. So my rationale there, again, probably flawed logic, but need to be more patient. Although I'm going to give myself a little bit of leeway, because if I'm impatiently making profit, I'm doing better than I was before, where I was impatiently taking losses. So all of like last week, well, not even last week, like the week before last, I kept hitting my max loss for the day, because I would take my losses just quick, right? And that seems like it would make sense, except that when you're quick to take your losses and slow to take your wins, you end up bleeding all your wins away, right? Because you're going to be in drawdown, right? So if you're uncomfortable with drawdown and you're constantly taking small losses in drawdown, it's hard, right? So I'm at least happy that I took my profit on this one at a higher point. Let me look at this, right? So we took it to the top of this fair value gap. This, I mean, if this fails, it's going to move higher, right? I got nervous because I saw this push up and then pull back hard. And rather than waiting for a pullback, which I'm not going to be able to do, right? So in my mind, my options are take it now, because the risk of a pullback is pretty good. And I know I'm more likely to dump myself out for less profit in a pullback, right? I'm not going to wait it out. Not saying that's the right thing to do, but I know that that's what I would do. If this fails and continues to move higher, at least I took part of the move. Okay, we got 18 points on the move, so that's okay. Got in a few ticks late, but that's fine. Really good cross of the moving averages. Really good reaction. I'm happy with that. I am happy with that. Honestly, I'm happy with this trade here. This was choppy. It was kind of noisy trade, but I got in. It really didn't go anywhere. Stopped out for break even. What's going on here? Oh. Then I turned it around immediately because I saw an inversion. Stopped out for break even. And then took this guy. So, I'm quick to stop out without losing. So that helped me here. This was a much nicer move up. We were reacting off of a fair value gap. We were reacting off both lines. We were really even this line. So multiple confluences here. And look, this is going to continue to move up. I mean, if it breaks above here, it's highly likely to go up here. I mean, that's the next spot to go, right? So that's good. What did I do here? So this one was a 1 minute gold line trade, which low probability because we'd been on the 1 minute gold line for a while, right? So we normally don't like to take the third touch. This was probably the 15th. Like, wasn't just a touch; it was like a slow massage. So low probability. It failed for a small loss. 7-point loss. So, that's fine. So overall, I'm pretty happy. We made money in gold. We made money in Q. And so P&L, we're up $500 for the day. Would have liked for it to be better, but it's kind of a choppy day. So OBS Studio just disconnected and reconnected. Oh, we reconnected. Okay, so I don't know, there's probably a glitch in there, but anyway, talk to y'all later.